August 15th, 2021. Kabul falls in a single day. No siege, no last stand, just convoys of white pickup trucks rolling into a capital that had already given up. But these men who were rolling into the capital on the back of a Toyota Hilux as if it was a Leopard 2 tank. These men had already ruled Afghanistan before, but 5 years later they were back. Only this time they were promising something a little bit different. They promised a peaceful Islamic Emirate that would restore order. Fast forward to 2026 and Human Rights Watch are now calling it one of the gravest human rights crises on the face of the earth. Afghanistan today is the only country on earth where a girl can be sentenced by law to a life without classroom. Tonight we go through the numbers, the floggings, the fighting, the famine. And you're also going to come with me as I visit a secret Afghan school for girls in the mountains of Afghanistan. Let's start with what the Taliban actually built. Because it wasn't a government, it was a machinery of control. In January 2026, the regime quietly rolled out a new criminal procedure code. Yes, you heard that correctly. And all of this isn't propaganda from some exiled critic. That's what it says in their own legal text. It defines a Muslim. So if you're sitting there, if you're Muslim, they're defining what a Muslim is for you. So what have they defined a Muslim as? As someone who follows Hanafi jurisprudence and that brands everyone else, including Shia Muslims, as heretics. In a country with millions of Shia Hazaras, that's not a legal footnote. That's a target painted on an entire ethnic and religious community, all written into law in Afghanistan now. And those punishments from the 1990s, they're all back now. Remember there was a time when they said, no, we've turned over a new leaf. We're new modern people. That was the old Taliban. It's all back. But I think everybody knew it was coming back. Public floggings, corporal punishment, executions, carried out in stadiums that once held football matches. This is the exact same regime, the exact same playbook. The only difference is, they've come back 5 years later. LGBT groups now face outright criminalisation. In February 2026 alone, 4 men were sentenced to lashing and up to 5 years in prison for who they are. And journalists, they don't fare much better either. Arbitrary detention, torture in custody, and since September, live political broadcasts have been banned outright. When a government is afraid of a live microphone, that tells you everything you have to know about how they feel about their own legitimacy. But it's the women and the girls of Afghanistan who are carrying the most weight of this brutal regime. Afghanistan, right now, in 2026, is the only country on earth where girls are barred from education. Not underfunding, not unequal, barred by decree. So I got a chance to visit an Afghan school, and it's now time to put the video up. I will keep the location anonymous, and as you can see here, the elder women, they sit at the back, young girls at the front and elder women at the back, because they also want an education. They're banned, and they'll take any education they can get. They're willing to risk it all just to get an education. Something that we take for granted here. So yeah, as you can hear by the noise, we're just about to visit a local school here. So yeah, look at this.
مهمان امروز در شما آوردیم، نامش کالم است، از اسکاتلند. خیلی خوش شدید.
Well, I want to ask them what life's like here. What do you think the best thing about living in firstly?
یک سوال داره از شما پرسان میکنه، میگه در بامیان چرا خوش داری؟ کدام چیز زیاد خوشایند است شما در بامیان؟
خب بنام نمیخورم. من فریبا هستم. نام من فریباست و تخلصم احمدی. من از بامیان از جاهای دیدنی خیلی مقبولی دارم و سرسبز مناطق کوهستانی خیلی خوبی دارم. از اما خوشم میاد و از یک دختر آزاد نیست خیلی ناراحتم.
Her name is Freba Ahmadi, and she likes the beauty the natural beauty of Bamyan.
Okay, perfect. Yeah,
And she is very upset of not being free here.
yeah, yeah. What do their parents think about them coming to get educated?
میگه پدر و مادر شما درباره درس خواندن میگه چی فکر میکنه؟ خوش است نیست؟ حمایت میکنه شما رو نمیکنه؟ چی نظر داره؟ کدام میتونه یک نفرتون جواب بگید یک نفر دستان بلند کنه.
پدر و مادر ما خیلی از ما حمایت میکنن ولی مردم چی امیر خودی کلانسرا که هستن نمیمونن ما رو بکنن. پدر و مادر ما خیلی راضی از اینکه ما درس بخونیم خیلی خوش میشن اینکه ما یک چیزی رو خوانده بتونیم بهشون گفته بتونیم.
She says the parents always support them, but you know the current regime,
Yeah, yeah,
they locked the door for the school, the girls' school, and she says she doesn't like it.
yeah. You tell her most of the world see that girls aren't allowed to get educated, and we all agree with them that they should be educated.
میگه ما موافق هستم که درس و تعلیم شما وقتی شما درس میخونه واقعا یا خوش میشه یعنی کل دنیا میگه وقتی که خبر شد که همین مکتب برای شما بند شده خفه شده و کلی کوشش میکنه که مکتب روی شما باز شده وقتی یک گپ خیلی ساده است یعنی اگر هر کس پرسان کنه که مکتب جای خوب است بعد چیز خوب است بعد البته که میگه مکتب چیز خوب است و جای خوب است و در روی هر کس باید باز باشه چی دختر باشه چی بچه میگه ما که موافق هستیم.
What their hopes and dreams are for the future after they get educated.
یک سوال خیلی خوب از شما پرسان میکنه هر کدامتون باز جواب داشته دستان بلند کنی بگوی جواب شویده میگه شما امیدتان در آینده چیه؟ کی میخواهد چی شود در آینده؟
کی است؟ بگو.
اول خودت؟
بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. اسم ما رزماس مکتبی که اسکول درس میخونیم و ما در آینده آرزو دارم که یک دکتر شوم.
A good answer. Her name is Razma. She says she wants to be a doctor in the future.
Education is important, and like I said, around the world we see what happens in the current regime, and the rest of the world agree that girls should be getting just as much of an education as boys.
میگه من میبینم که میگه من واقعا خوش هستم که میبینم برادرها و خواهر کلشان یک جای شده زیر یک سطح درس میخوانن و کلگی مردم در هر کشوری که هستن کوشش میکنه که مکتب در شما باز کنه وقتی تعلیم و تربیت یک چیز خیلی اساسی و ضروری است.
Do they have any questions about Scotland?
هر سوالی که درباره اسکاتلند داشته باشه میتونه بپرسید. کی سوال داره درباره اسکاتلند؟
کس سوال داره؟
سوال من است که اسکاتلند در کدام قاره موجود است؟
Where is Scotland?
In Britain, in the UK.
یکی از کشورهای اروپایی است و مربوط متحده انگلستان میشه یعنی نزدیک انگلند است یعنی نزدیک انگلستان
Yeah, and it's very cold.
و یک کشوری سرد است از بامیان هم که سرد است.
And thank you for the time, and that hopefully in the future the education for girls gets better.
I don't know about you. I've not read the Quran, so maybe you, my Muslim followers, can tell me. Does the Quran say that women are not allowed to be educated at all? Or is that just their warped interpretation? Honestly, it's absolutely sickening. You should thank yourself lucky that you were born or you live in Pakistan. Now here's where the Taliban's promise just completely collapses on its ass. When the Taliban marched into Kabul, their pledge to the world was very simple. Afghan soil would never again become a launch pad for terrorists. That was the deal. That was supposed to be the price for international engagement. And now, 5 years on, the UN Security Council itself has said the quiet part out loud. ISIL-K, Al-Qaeda and the Eastern Turkestan Islamic movement are all active on Afghan soil. The UN's own language is blunt. Afghanistan risks becoming once again the hub for terrorists. And this isn't theoretical. On January 19, 2026, a suicide bomber walked into a restaurant frequented by Chinese nationals in Kabul's Shari-Naw neighbourhood and killed 8 people, including himself. ISIS-K claimed it and tied it explicitly to the Chinese treatment of Muslims in China. Let that sink in. Foreign nationals targeted in the Taliban's own capital, where they claim to have everything under control and to claim that everything's safe. And the scale of ISIS-K's operation is a lot larger than people believe. UN reporting now puts the group's strength at somewhere between 4,000 and 6,000 fighters, operating with growing freedom of movement across Afghan territory. Freedom of movement under a regime that claims total control. And if you thought that was bad, we've not even spoken about Al-Qaeda yet. Al-Qaeda, the group whose presence in Afghanistan caused 2 decades of conflict in the first place. The UN describes the Taliban and Al-Qaeda's relationship as strong and symbiotic. Not fractured, not distant, symbiotic. Roughly 400 Al-Qaeda members are using Afghanistan as a logistical and recruitment hub, just 5 years after they said this would never happen again. And that fallout, that doesn't just stop at Afghanistan's border. Let's look next door to Pakistan. The 2026 Global Terrorism Index recorded Pakistan overtaking Burkina Faso as the single most terrorism-affected country on earth. 1,139 deaths, 1,045 attacks, and that's just 2025 alone. Now that's Pakistan's worst year since 2013. And the driver behind all of this surge? A resurgent TTP, now emboldened and empowered in the direct aftermath of the Taliban's 2021 takeover. So the ledger is pretty clear. The Taliban didn't end the terror economy in the region. It just gave it a new headquarters. And here's the thing I don't understand. Some of you can disagree with me if you want. I'm looking at it, and sometimes online I see people in Pakistan saying, like, if there's maybe some Pakistanis, they're maybe debating with Afghanis online, and I'll see Pakistanis saying, "Whoa, brother, don't say that. He's our brother." There is people in Afghanistan who actively support the Taliban and the TTP, who are killing Pakistani soldiers all along the western border. That's what I can't wrap my head around. And I understand the brothers of the Ummah, and it's your Muslim brother. I get that, I can understand that, but what I can't understand is somehow that gives them a free pass to be operating and doing the things that they do inside Pakistan. Pakistan was doing so well. It was becoming, in my eyes, I was seeing a big shift, especially in the tourism sector. People were now looking at Pakistan as a better alternative to India. And now the terrorist attacks are back on the rise. International people are going, "Whoa, hold on a minute here. Pakistan must be very dangerous again." And it's all down to the Taliban. It's all down to the Taliban giving safe haven to the TTP to operate and use Kabul and Afghanistan as a launch pad. I don't understand how some people can't see that. And let's just park the bus. Let's just park the bus with the speaking about the people of Pakistan for a second. What about the innocent people in Afghanistan? They're suffering tremendously because these barbarians want to introduce their interpretation of Islam. Nearly every single Muslim I've spoken to have never said, "Yeah, I agree with the Taliban, I agree what they do with the women." Almost everyone, they say, "No, brother, stay back from them. That's not the real Islam. We're very peaceful people. No, the Taliban are no good." Even the people in Afghanistan, when I was there, not one of them, when we got to the checkpoints, after the checkpoints, they would say, "Oh, not good, not good." They don't like the Taliban. They're just too scared to speak out. So I think it's bad for people to be giving the Taliban some sort of free pass because they're Muslims. Because the shit that they're doing in Afghanistan is shocking. Can you imagine being a woman in Afghanistan? And I know I'll get the trolls on here saying, "Oh, but what about all the Western women that do X, Y, Z," and they'll say stuff. Park the bus with that for a second. Let's just talk about the women of Afghanistan. If you're a Muslim, hopefully I've got a lot of Muslims watching this, because any Muslim I know are very peaceful, loving people. What do you think about the Taliban's actions in Afghanistan? Is it right? Are they following everything correctly, of Islam, or is it their warped interpretation? As of 2025, roughly 28 million Afghans are living in poverty. Nearly 3 out of every 4 people in that country cannot meet their basic needs. Not comfort, not savings, basic needs. Multi-dimensional poverty we're talking about here, people. The kind that measures health, education and standard of living together. Afflicts 65% of the entire population of Afghanistan. And in rural Afghanistan, that's as high as 75%. Now in 2026, 21.9 million people of Afghanistan require humanitarian assistance just to survive. Here's a figure that should stop us all cold in our tracks. 4.7 million Afghans are facing IPC Phase 4 emergency level hunger. That is the tier, if no one knows this, that's the tier just directly below famine. And that's more than double what it was the year before. And as the needs of the Afghan people increase, the world's response has done the exact opposite. International donors have sharply cut aid to Afghanistan. You can see it all online. It's been cut drastically. A lot of the relief programs have actually shut down completely. They've completely shut their doors, leaving a population that's already endured 4 decades of war to fend for themselves under a brutal regime that shows absolutely no capacity, and some could say no interest at all, in building an economy that serves the people of Afghanistan. So here's where 5 years of Taliban rule has actually got the people of Afghanistan. A legal system that codifies religious persecution, public floggings and executions returned as instruments of state policy, half the population, every woman and girl locked out of classrooms by law, journalists silenced, live broadcast banned, a terror ecosystem that has grown, not shrunk, spilling across the borders and destabilising an entire region, and an economy so hollowed out that nearly 3/4 of the population cannot meet their most basic needs, while the world quietly turns off the aid tap. That's not a transition government finding its footing. It's been 5 years. 5 years is long enough. Let's start calling this exactly what it is. It's a documented case study of institutionalized repression, regional destabilization, and quite frankly, economic ruin. The Taliban promised the people of Afghanistan peace. They deserve peace. After decades of war, they promised them peace, Islamic governance, and stability. What they've delivered is a state built on fear, one that numbers, and we're talking about their numbers and their own laws, can no longer hide. Even you guys, the amount of Pakistanis that said to me, Callum, I can't believe you went to Afghanistan and spent time with the Taliban. Even I wouldn't do that as a Muslim. Even Muslims are scared to go to Afghanistan. Think how the women feel in Afghanistan. Like I say, it's an absolute shit show over there. And it's not just causing problems to the people of Afghanistan, it's causing problems to the people in Pakistan also. For years now I've been saying that the Western world are starting to look at Pakistan as a good alternative to India for travel. Is that starting to change now? Because the terrorism reports are starting to look absolutely abysmal. And you'll get people online saying, oh brothers, go easy on the Taliban, they're our brothers. Are they? Are they really? They don't care about the Taliban do not care about the people of Pakistan. If they did, they wouldn't be allowing the TTP, a safe haven in Afghanistan, to operate and kill innocent Pakistanis and Pakistan soldiers all along the western border. That's a fact. Do you honestly think they care about the people of Pakistan? I know some of you, and understand the brothers of the Ummah, and it's your fellow Muslims. Do you honestly think they care? It'd be interesting to know your thoughts, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll catch you on the next one.